So it's cold outside and companies are looking to cuff these other companies, get in bed with them and get some nice warmage going on, because we've been seeing a lot of acquisitions recently within the video game industry. Of course, the big acquisition as of recently was Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard. All of the Activision Blizzard subsidiaries, including Toys for Bob, all those awesome companies that so many of us love, Vicarious Visions, are now under the Microsoft umbrella. And it was going to be interesting to see if Sony retorted to this, if Sony did anything to sort of combat this acquisition. And well, they kind of did. It's a very interesting acquisition, but I think it's definitely very impactful for what this is going to be, because Sony has purchased Bungie. Now, Bungie is an interesting company, of course, because of the fact that, well, Bungie kind of created Halo. You know, Halo, that huge Microsoft game that is on Xbox and all the Xbox subsidiary platforms, and just came out with a new iteration of Halo Infinite. Yes, the original Halo games were actually done by Bungie. So this was a big announcement. There's a lot of different things going on with this. There's a lot of interesting details. I want to talk about the fallout from this, how much money it costs, and all that sort of stuff. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like and share the video. Without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on with this. So Bungie is, of course, known right now for Destiny 2. Destiny 2 has definitely become a huge game, and I'm kind of surprised by that. I never got on the Destiny bandwagon or anything, but I know it's a huge game. It's a multi-platform game. It's a huge cash cow, but Sony was like, yo, we want you, Bungie. We want you. They purchased Bungie for $3.6 billion. We're seeing these huge billion-dollar acquisitions. Now, this was just announced. Sony Interactive Entertainment just put up a press release on their website done by Jim Ryan talking about this. So I want to go over some of this stuff with you guys to get the nitty-gritty. Legendary development studio to remain independent and multi-platform. That's obviously a very, very big statement. So Jim Ryan goes on to say, we are thrilled to announce that Sony Interactive Entertainment has entered into an agreement to acquire Bungie, which will bring one of the world's greatest development studios into the PlayStation family. Bungie has created two of gaming's most iconic franchises, Halo and Destiny, and has a deep expertise in bringing incredible immersive experience at great scale to the community through games that evolve and develop over time, and has a hugely impressive roadmap for future content. It is that expertise coupled with the highly engaged PlayStation community that makes this partnership such an exciting or incredibly exciting addition. So obviously, Sony lost out on a lot of things when it comes to multiplayer games during this acquisition of Activision Blizzard done by Microsoft, because yes, the future Call of Duties, I think the next two are scheduled to be on PlayStation systems, but after that, it's going to be a Microsoft only, an Xbox only game, and probably available on the PC as well. So Sony picking up Bungie does make sense, because Bungie is a very talented studio. Now, Bungie actually has another project in development that we haven't seen yet. We haven't heard about it yet. I believe Spawnwave told me that NetEase is actually working on this game, so more than likely it's going to be another big multiplayer experience. But the fact that they're remaining independent, the fact that they're going to remain multi-platform, at least for now, I think makes this acquisition very unique, because a lot of people are like, well, if that's the case, then why would Sony buy them? You know, what is Sony going to be able to do with this studio that they're not already doing? If indeed the fact of the matter is they're going to make all their games multi-platform. I think for the immediate future, that will be the case. I feel like whatever their next project is going to be is indeed going to be a multi-platform release. Let's be realistic here. Bungie doesn't release like a lot of games. You know, they're not a company that's constantly churning out games. They're a company that just releases a game and then they work on the next game, but there's not like 2 or 3 projects going on. You don't see multiple releases from them in the year. Sometimes you don't even see a release from them in the year. So I think this is a very interesting acquisition. We'll go ahead and read some more here. Bungie's successful track record in multi-format publishing and live game services will assist us in realizing our ambitions to take PlayStation beyond the console and increase our potential audience. They will remain independent and multi-platform and will enjoy creative freedom, and their track record in developing massively successful franchises in the sci-fi shooter genre will be complementary to Sony Interactive Entertainment's own IP portfolio. So once again, they're talking about that multi-platform thing, and that's very interesting to me, because you know, you assume that companies will want to buy up other companies because they want their games to be specifically on their platforms. You know, games like Destiny 2, you could do some content that's exclusive to the PlayStation version of the game. Destiny 3, if that is to ever come out, you can make that a PlayStation exclusive to drive people to your console. But it seems like they want something beyond the console. They're almost talking a bit like Microsoft did did when they purchased Minecraft, because Minecraft, of course, is a huge game. It's available on pretty much everything, but Minecraft has remained a third-party game that's available on all platforms because Microsoft sees, I guess, the bigger scope with that. And I feel like that's what Sony is actually doing with Bungie here. They realize that, you know, there's a lot of people that play Bungie games on your PC or on your Xbox console along with your PlayStation console. So why try to cannibalize that? Because in the long run, you're going to take a hit. I mean, you're taking a $3.6 billion hit right now acquiring the studio. But in the long run, it might actually pan out if you're available on more consoles because that's revenue for Sony. And obviously we're seeing that with like MLB The Show going multi-platform as well. Granted, that was a bit of a different decision. MLB kind of forced them to do that, but that's a Sony game coming out on an Xbox platform, on a Nintendo platform. And I think that's what they're doing here with Bungie. The partnership will bring inspiring new experiences to both the PlayStation community and the community that Bungie has built. We believe that creativity, technology, and collaboration ultimately make for better games and experiences, and that's what matters most to us. At Sony, we are dedicated to entertainment and filling the world with emotion, and we hope you agree that has never been a better time to be a gamer. Now, in the midst of all these acquisitions, in the midst of companies like Microsoft purchasing Activision Blizzard, with Sony now purchasing Bungie, it's obvious that there's a big shift happening within the video game landscape because companies, you know, these acquisitions that used to be just once in a while and be like huge stories, now they're becoming more and more frequent, and you're starting to see what's actually happening here with these companies just buying up these other companies and then owning their IPs, and it could end up becoming very territorial, you know, very tribalistic, in which you are able to play your games on only certain platforms, which I totally get. You know, I grew up in the era of the 16-bit wars between Sega and Nintendo, and this was like gang wars type shit, you know? Like, they were at each other's throat, but we've kind of come to this kumbaya sort of situation within the video game industry with everyone trying to work together, but it seems like Microsoft was just a little sneaky bastard. Like, they were preaching all this kumbaya shit, and then they came along and purchased up all these studios. So what's going to end up happening here with PlayStation and Bungie, at least for the immediate future, it's all going to be multi-platform stuff. Nothing is really going to change, but I can't help but feel like there's another reason here. There has to be something beyond just the monetary reasons that Sony wanted to purchase Bungie. And maybe it's just going to be starting to get to a point where all these companies are buying up the third-party companies. You know, maybe Microsoft is looking at a company like Sega or Konami. Maybe Sony is looking at a company like that. Maybe Nintendo is, because Nintendo's just kind of in their own lane. But I feel like this is something that you have to pay attention to. You have to pay attention to how this is all shifting. Because, you know, if these companies don't want to work with you, you're going to be missing out on games from third-party developers. If you're able to secure your own companies, like your Segas or your Konamis, I think that would be a big win for Nintendo. Because, I mean, you think of Konami games, you tend to think of Nintendo platforms, you know, your Castlevanias, your Contras and stuff like that. I think those would make a really good home on a Nintendo platform. But even if Nintendo doesn't do this, I feel like all these other companies are kind of on the chopping block. I think a lot of these other companies are starting to be looked at, not necessarily as we want your games on our platform, but we want to own you and own your games so that you only make games for our platform. So the video game industry clearly is changing here, and it's very interesting to see. This is a very interesting time in video game history, and I'm really interested to see the fallout from this. Does Microsoft make another acquisition? Does Nintendo finally make an acquisition? You know, something substantial, something not within their own family of companies like Grezzo and Next Level Studios who make games for them, but someone sort of outside of the bubble, because I think that could be a huge win for Nintendo, but it would definitely impact the rest of the video gaming industry. So let me know what you think of all this in the comments section down below. Do you hate all these acquisitions? Do you think this is going to potentially ruin video games going forward, or do you understand it? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Yes, this is the second video we made today, but hey, when breaking news happens and I'm just chilling at the house, I gotta make a video on it. Thank you guys for your support. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give me all your feedback in the comments section down below. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.